She's there with you, completely present, yet something's off. You're doing everything right technically, but her body language says otherwise. What if I told you that one specific mistake is actually killing her pleasure instead of building it, and 97% of men have no clue they're doing it? Most men think they've got this figured out, perfect technique, all the right moves. But if you're making these 5 critical errors, none of that matters. You might possess flawless technique, know every move in the book, yet something still feels off. She's there with you, but her body language reads distant. The reactions you anticipated never arrive. She remains unusually silent, or worse, visibly uncomfortable. Sound familiar? Today I'm revealing 5 things women desperately want you to avoid during oral intimacy. By the final minute, you'll understand how to transform this act from something she endures into something she actively desires. Technique without awareness creates distance, not desire. Pay extra attention because mistake number 3 directly causes diminished sensation rather than heightened pleasure. And the overwhelming majority of men remain completely unaware they're committing it. If becoming truly memorable in intimate moments matters to you, stay with me because we're diving deep. Let's examine the first mistake, something virtually every man commits unknowingly, and it's the quickest path to emotional disconnection. Picture this scenario. You're receiving the most incredible massage imaginable, except the therapist exclusively targets one identical spot on your shoulder, repeatedly, endlessly. Regardless of how perfect the pressure feels initially, eventually it stops registering as pleasurable. That's precisely the experience when you concentrate solely on her genitalia. Most men would absolutely welcome having all attention directed at their penis. For women, though, neglecting the remainder of her body generates feelings of detachment regardless of your technical skill level. Here's why. Female arousal operates fundamentally differently than ours. For men, arousal happens quickly, concentrates locally, follows direct pathways. For women, arousal radiates throughout her entire nervous system. It encompasses her whole physical being. So instead, activate her complete body, her stomach, her legs, her waist, her torso. Glide your palms along her sides. Press your lips to the delicate skin of her wrists. Thaw your fingertips slowly down her backbone. When every part of her receives attention, relaxation follows naturally. That relaxation becomes the foundation for profound pleasure, possibly even whole body climax. Arousal is a conversation with her entire nervous system, not a negotiation with one area. Consider it like illuminating a residence. You don't activate a single switch expecting the entire space to brighten. You illuminate room by room deliberately. Touch her everywhere and observe how dramatically more responsive she becomes. Her respiration deepens, her muscles release tension, and she begins genuinely craving what follows next. Now, mistake number 2 begins well before you position yourself between her thighs. Have you attempted cooking a premium cut of meat by placing it in a cold skillet, then cranking the temperature to maximum? The result ends up tough and charred externally while remaining uncooked internally. That's what occurs when you rush the beginning. Oral intimacy isn't foreplay for women. It represents the primary experience. Her body requires gradual warming first. Begin by stimulating her mind with language that communicates your desire for her. Message her hours before you're together. Murmur something that keeps her thoughts returning to you. Then when you're physically present, warm her senses through tracing fingertips across her skin and speaking softly near her ear. Finally, warm her physical form. Kiss her abdomen, her thighs, her hips. Allow her to crave you intensely enough that she's practically pleading for your mouth. When you construct that anticipation, when you invest time in the approach, her physiological response transforms completely. Blood circulation increases to precisely the right locations. Nerve sensitivity amplifies. And genuinely, she becomes exponentially more receptive to everything that follows. Rushing destroys arousal. Patience cultivates it. Now, mistake number 3 constitutes something that almost invariably makes her withdraw, even when she won't verbalize it. Too many men attempt replicating penetrative motion using their tongue or fingers, assuming increased speed translates to increased pleasure. For most women, the opposite holds true. Women desire a slower accumulation of sensation. So initiate gently. Appreciate the moment and incrementally elevate intensity exclusively when her body signals readiness for progression. Observe her breathing patterns, the vocalizations she produces, how her pelvis responds. Those represent your guidance system. When you accelerate prematurely, when you apply excessive force and velocity immediately, you're overstimulating her rather than constructing her experience upward. Conceptualize it this way. Female arousal resembles adjusting a dimmer control, not triggering a switch. Gradual, consistent, progressive. That's the pathway to her climax. And when you eventually do amplify intensity, it registers as organic evolution, not abrupt assault on her sensory system. The issue is, most men derive their approach from adult entertainment or assumptions about what should function effectively. But authentic intimacy doesn't follow predetermined scripts. It follows her body's inherent rhythm. And when you develop the ability to interpret that rhythm instead of imposing your predetermined pattern, everything transforms. Now, mistake number 4 centers entirely on the clitoris. Numerous men perceive it as the ultimate target, and certainly it's remarkable. But here's the reality most overlook. When you exclusively concentrate there, you actually restrict her potential pleasure. Imagine serving an elaborate multi-course dinner, yet only permitting her to consume dessert. Sure, dessert tastes incredible, but she's deprived of all the complementary flavors that render the experience truly memorable. The clitoris contains over 8,000 nerve endings, more concentrated than any other human body location. Therefore, absolutely, it's extraordinarily sensitive. But excessive direct stimulation, particularly prematurely, can register as overwhelming or even generate temporary numbness. It resembles maximizing audio volume before the composition even commences. It's excessive too rapidly. So explore comprehensively her outer labia, the territory surrounding her clitoris, her inner thighs, the perineum. Alternate the sensations. Employ varying pressure levels, different tempos, different sequences. Stimulate the region around the clitoris before addressing it directly. When you introduce variety, you establish a progression that feels fuller, more profound, and substantially more thrilling for her. Don't simply fixate on one location. Women possess thousands of nerve endings throughout that entire region. Engage them all. Construct layered sensations instead of concentrating force on a single point. And finally, mistake number 5 represents the one that can negate everything you executed correctly. Have you attended a celebration, thoroughly enjoying yourself when suddenly everyone vanishes, abandoning you isolated in the center of the space? That's the sensation when you omit aftercare. When a woman reaches orgasm, her system releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, in significant quantities. She desires proximity, warmth, and connection. So after she climaxes, remain present. Embrace her, kiss her, allow her to feel acknowledged and valued. Provide her minimally 15 minutes to decompress. This is what converts adequate oral intimacy into unforgettable connection for her. And honestly, this is what distinguishes guys she forgets from guys she can't stop contemplating. Most men treat orgasm like a finish line. They achieve her climax and consider it concluded. But for women, the moments following climax hold equal importance as the build-up. Her nervous system remains completely receptive. Her emotions intensify. She's vulnerable. And if you simply turn away or stand and depart, she experiences abandonment. But when you stay, when you hold her closely, when you whisper something tender, or simply synchronize your breathing with hers, you're establishing a bond extending far beyond physical gratification. You're providing her emotional connection. And for women, those two elements are inseparable. Here's what I want you to retain. Exceptional oral intimacy isn't about velocity or force. It's about engaging her complete body, constructing anticipation rather than accelerating, initiating gently and progressing gradually, investigating variety instead of obsessing over one zone and maintaining connection afterward. You're not just giving her an orgasm, you're giving her intimacy, safety, and emotional fulfillment. The men who comprehend this don't merely satisfy their partners. They create experiences women crave repeatedly. Because you're not simply delivering an orgasm, you're providing intimacy, security, and emotional completion. If this transformed your perspective on intimacy, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment, and share which mistake you didn't recognize you were making. I read every single one. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves because you're worth it.